Hi guys, welcome along to Find for People. My name is Grant Goes, and it's a beautiful, beautiful day. This is the platform that helps you find the best in health, sports, and fitness. Every day we're going and talking with different people about different types of health, sports, and fitness, different topics, different experiences that people are having. And yeah, it's been fantastic so far. So we're looking forward to doing more and more and absolutely more. Today we're going to talk with Aaron Persico about UAE Rugby. This is actually pre-recorded, but yeah. It was a really great conversation. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, we lost the first 10 minutes of that conversation, but we're going to pick up in the halfway, and that's going to come up very soon, straight after this.
Hours searching the internet, asking friend upon friend, making call after call, trying to find the right fitness professional, health specialist, or sports coach. So much time, energy, and even money spent only to find more problems than solutions. Well, now, with the Find Fit People platform, you can find all the available professionals with the skills you need in an instant. We've removed all the barriers by establishing a community of many different skilled health specialists, sports coaches, and fitness professionals that are alerted immediately once you've posted your request. In under 30 seconds, you can attract multiple professionals with the right skills to help you achieve the result you want. It's simple, fast, and free. Find us online at www.findfitpeople.com or download the Find Fit People app from Apple or Google Play stores so you can find fit people today.
Hey guys, welcome back to Find for People. Platform helps you find the best in health, sports, and fitness. So the question was, who was hosting the Winter Olympic Games in 2020? And I was just talking to Aaron off air about this one. So brother, you want to take that one?
The host for the 2020 Winter Olympics is Beijing.
Beijing, bang on, that's the one. We're just talking about that. How we know that? We're onto it. So guys, we're talking about rugby here in the UAE, and there's a couple of questions I want to throw towards Aaron and just get your feedback on it. One is because you're involved with so much rugby here with the juniors, no pun intended on that one, but the development of the game. There's a lot of chat about what's too young, because I know there's been rules not only here in the UAE, but there's also been parents back home, especially in New Zealand, where kids are the bigger. I mean, you talk about 12, 11, 8-year-old kids that they're huge for their age. And a lot of parents are finding that they're scared for their children. You know, that's the kind of thing that's going through their minds. So what's your take on that? How young is a good time to start rugby? Or what are things that people can do to maybe get into rugby? You know, there's a whole scare factor out there, you know, so...
Yeah, no, I guess it is a really interesting debate, and I guess our ethos at our club is purely about development. We take the winning factor out of it.
Yeah.
So we were just encouraging positive play and development of skill. Yeah. And within that, parents have really enjoyed the ambience at when we're going to competitions. We're not yelling and screaming from the sideline. A lot of positive play. But yeah, to answer that question, when is the right time to play a contact sport? Because it is a contact sport, and so what it is, you play quick rip or tag essentially. Yeah. And from under 8s, so you learn all the basic fundamental skills, which I think is the right move. Yeah. Even though the kids, they want to get into contact straight away. Yeah. We still really encourage they learn the fundamentals and the basics, and we do run contact programs for that. And then so when they an under 9 year group, which I'm actually coaching this year, they get into contact, and they just can't get enough of it. Yeah, totally. And it's as a coach, it's fantastic to see these kids throwing themselves around without fear. Yeah. Obviously, body mass, everyone's pretty much the same size. You haven't got the big boys.
Especially from the islands of the Pacific. Yeah. If you're from there, you might be a bit different. But
yeah, and we just always encourage technique all over. Yeah. We'll always compete against size. And stuff. Totally. And just making sure that positive influence, there's positive words, so they feel confident within themselves.
Yeah, nice. Awesome.
And it is a skill.
A lot now these days. I mean, look at the circuit becoming better and better in sports in general. Doesn't matter what sport you look at. With rugby, I mean, you see this talent is coming out there, especially in the female game. There's there's a line that you always hear a lot of guys say, "Oh, we don't want to tackle her," that kind of thing going. I suppose there's questions around the female game as well, because people talk about females in UFC. The females should not be in UFC, and some people say the same thing about rugby.
Yeah.
What are your
It's a great question, and if you go down to rugby sevens, the female game is probably better to watch because physically they're not as probably dominant between the men, but with the women's, there's the skill factor is unbelievable. And I personally believe that CrossFit has got a lot of intake of the numbers increasing for female rugby. Why is that? Because CrossFit is a high intensity training, and people just love that type of training at a high intensity, and then they go and play in a team environment, and they still get that. And working hard together as a team, because it's one of the fastest games in the world, rugby sevens, and they love being a part of a team. And when I was coaching in Canada, we connected with all the CrossFit gyms to help increase our numbers, and with rugby sevens is a great platform because there's a lot more space, a lot more time, and it's an easier way to people to get into rugby.
I want to ask a question because my mic's just gone off a little bit, so that's all right, no worries. Put that back in there. 2 seconds. Just the thing with the females game, same with it, like you're saying. You see before we were talking about technique runs over, it shows in the global game, and it shows when it comes down to the female game, especially technique. And you watch not just only how they pass the ball, but how they move and how they tackle and that. And the development you brought up, and we talked just briefly before, is about the whole learning other things outside the game. People, when they think about rugby, they think about big guys smashing each other, but there's a lot of things you learn as far as discipline and respect on the field. I mean, you don't see the people complaining at the referees or anything like that. Do you see a difference between the male game and the female game? I mean, when it comes to with the behaviour side of things.
You do. And that's the beauty of the sport, the fact there's just sort of two different mindsets. The one thing I really like is sort of the camaraderie between the females and the males. Everyone's sort of supporting their own sort of nation, and really the males actually really supporting the females. And you'll see down the rugby sevens, how many people enjoying watching the girls play for one reason. And then another reason, just really applauding a really good play. Because at the end of the day, they're putting their bodies on the line as much as we are.
100%.
And they're throwing themselves around, and they probably haven't played the game for as long as we have. But in a small amount of time, they've come on leaps and bounds.
Oh, massively. It's amazing to watch. I totally agree. Just seeing the skill set, and it's like when I did all kayaking, and the reason I bring up kayaking was because with a guy tends to like to muscle the technique. Like when it comes to there's very finesse about kayaking and how you paddle. And if you roll, it's called a duck dive or duck roll, sorry. And when you're under the water, and to bring yourself back up, you use the paddle to flick yourself back up. And there's a technique to it. Now a lot of the guys, they just muscle themselves up, where a female doesn't generally have the same kind of strength, and so she uses finesse to bring herself back up. So she's technically so much more sound than a male counterpart, and definitely that's for me, that's what I see in the rugby game as well. The female has to use I say the wrong thing, but brain, more to play the game beautiful, or more with more beauty. Is that the words? No,
you're right there. So it's great to see, and if you look at the world stage now, how popular women's football is. Football is just going through the roof. So amazing athletes, and like I said, there's got more of a skill factor than a physical factor.
Yeah, totally. Who are the top teams at the moment as far as like rugby, and both genre? Oh my goodness, both sexes. Male, female.
Rugby sevens or
both. 15 and 15s.
15s, yeah. So I guess the top 6 teams that have really got a really good professional program would be Australia, England, South Africa, New Zealand, Argentina, and just I guess Fiji men are really good. The Fiji women's are improving, and then also the likes of Wales have been coming up there, and I believe Ireland have also they entered the IRB sevens this year. So it's great to see that a lot of unions now investing in the sevens program.
Yeah,
and with it being an Olympic sport, they got more funding to do that.
Yeah, totally. What about these sort of the people talk about, because you talk about these nations developing and stuff like that? The USA. They've come up big time in the last 2-3 years, and a lot of people are already talking about the financial money they have behind the teams, the sports in America. And one of the things that I noticed back this is the start in 2019 at the Touch Rugby World Cup, and the USA team was there, and they had all the glitz and glam. I mean, you could tell they were back. They had their physios, their specialists, their nutritionists, their cooks, their chefs, and we're talking about Touch Rugby World Cup, which is still a very minnow sport in comparison. But you see now in the sevens, they came second last season.
No, they are the sleeping giant, and they've got so much potential. And the good thing, and it's sort of like that Dubai as well. They don't like doing things in half. So when they do things, they do it thoroughly. They do a really good job of it. So, at the moment, they're trying to get their local professional competition up and running. It's been a number of years, but Manonu signed there.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. There are a lot more boys going over there to help grow it, and it has got a massive potential
totally.
just with their athletes. And it's funny enough, within the American football, you've got the NFL, but there's nothing really underneath that.
Yeah, true.
So many players within that roster that don't make that roster. There's no sort of like club competition.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good athletes out there that can easily come across to rugby. So that's why they are the sleeping giant.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I think personally, if America could host a Rugby World Cup, they'll just grow their game.
Oh, exponentially, right?
Yeah, amazingly. So it's a really exciting times there, and I think they have got the right people behind the federation trying to grow their game with trying to set up a really good domestic competition. I guess it does need a bit of financial backing because it is such a large country that they need to get their states right, because they've got different seasons, and also the fact travel time. Yeah, totally. So from my understanding, the competition they're running, they're just trying to enter a new team each year, and they've got a couple of teams from Canada as well.
Oh, cool, get involved as well. That's cool. Awesome.
And it's over in a small, at the moment it's only a 12 competition, 12 match competition, but I think they're trying to get to 16 matches. Up. Yeah, so doing things in small paces, but doing it the right way.
Yeah. There's what are your thoughts on this one? When you see the US with all their money, they could throw so much money into the sport and develop these elite athletes to play rugby, and I can see that like so in the next 10, maybe 15 years, they've got the funding to be able to make a brilliant rugby team. Now, could money buy that, or no, in your opinion?
I think England have probably got one of the biggest budget, and they've got one of the world's best coaches.
Yep.
A lot of people go to England, play their premiership rugby, then they can qualify for England.
Yeah.
To answer your question, that can help you a lot with the infrastructure, all the diets, and all the resources with technology making a huge impact now in rugby. You can make it competitive, but I don't think it'll make you win a championship or World Cup.
So then what about New Zealand? Does it leave New Zealand behind? Does it leave, because of such a small country, I mean, there's already pulling power from places like France and England to go across because of the financial pocket. They've got deep pockets over there, right? And so what does it mean for the New Zealand game? I've heard a couple of stars back in New Zealand say that New Zealand teams should be involved more with Asia competitions, or there should be an Asia competition that they can get involved with to cut down on travel time and expenses, but then also to grow a game in a market that's got a stronger economy. Is that something?
It's interesting times back in New Zealand. The thing of New Zealand's always had the edge above other countries because just their thinking, their creativity of play, and I guess for New Zealand game is the grassroots is not only they produce really good players, but they produce really good coaches that understand New Zealand culture and just the way that we seem to play our rugby. And I think the biggest thing is the biggest change in rugby at the moment is just the defensive line speed and how quick teams have been able to work on their line speed and how fitter, because doing line speed is one thing, but being able to do it for 80 minutes is one thing. And you saw that in the semi-final of the World Cup that England were able to do that for 80 minutes. And that just shows you how the athleticism within the English side, or how fit they were. They worked really hard. So to answer your question with the New Zealand game, I think they've always got the brains and the personnel to make sure we've got the edge or that new type of game plan to have the cut above the rest of the world.
Yeah, totally.
But we are losing some really good players as well.
That's unfortunate. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to come back after a short break, and when we do, we're going to talk about a few other things, like, for example, being, if you're in the world of rugby, you've heard that Sonny Bill Williams has gone over to Toronto into the Rugby League, and we're going to talk about that quickly. We're talking about the whole being pulled across because of financial gains, and other players that are overseas as well. That coming up straight after this.
Nook is the region's first dedicated co-working space focused on helping sports and wellness entrepreneurs set up their own business. We have permission to issue up to 200 trade licenses across 40 different trading activities. You can work from any of the surfaces around us. We also have a mind-body studio as well as a functional training studio. I think the talent pool is growing. One of the unique things about Dubai, you have kind of an east meets west when it comes to sports. Dubai is a great window into the rest of the GCC. We've been very fortunate to work with different UAE authorities to get people to play more sport and to be more active in the UAE.
Hey guys, welcome back to Fine for People. The platform helps you find the best in health, sports and fitness. We're here with Aaron Persico, who's an ex-Italian rugby player, a good man himself, a great coach, and he's here in the UAE. He's helping out UAE Rugby, in my belief anyway, with the team. And the reason I say that straight off the bat, bro, is because since your inclusion with the Dubai Heartbeat Tigers, you've seen the team, not only the brand grow, but also you've seen the players get better, and now the team, I want to bring this up, has gone down to the Premiership. So there's 3 divisions here in the UAE, and now gone from Division 1 and into the Premiership. And off the bat, in their first year, they've held their own.
It's been a good sort of work in progress for that, a good plan, and it's good to see we have got that progression and gone up and being competitive in the Premiership. Yeah. Knowing that we're only training once a week.
Some people are going to hate that. Some people I can't believe it.
And it's, it's great to know that on Friday that the boys can wake up and look forward to their rugby and going out there. And it's a good standard of rugby, actually. The referees are really good. The opposition we've played against have been really good. We've had some really good attacking games and played in a really good spirit as well. So we're just really enjoying the step up and playing in a really good standard of rugby.
Yeah, awesome. The thing we're going to bring this, and we're going to bring this up because teams are always going to develop evolution with any kind of sport. People think about Dubai and they think about money. That's the first thing they think about. You come to Dubai, you're going to make money. And that's not as easy as that. But with teams and things growing here in the country, players now, where does UAE go into a point where they pay players to play?
That's some really interesting times within the UAE Rugby, and I think the UAE should really follow what Hong Kong are doing at the moment. They host a really good Rugby Sevens program as well, but they have invested a lot into their national team. And it is quite a similar type of country, Hong Kong and Dubai, but they almost qualified for the Rugby World Cup. Oh, well. So they beat Henry Paul's Canadian team. They lost to them just by a smidgen, but that's where I think the UAE Rugby should be sort of focusing on, and there are talks within the Asia countries that there might be a club competition amongst the Asian countries.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Which will open up doors and opportunities.
Yeah.
So if those top opportunities come about, I think there'll be an opportunity we can have some semi-professional teams and people getting paid for something they love doing.
Yeah, totally. It'd be awesome, right, to see that. And you want to see the growth, you want to see the development. There's okay, Rugby 7 is obviously something that happens here in Dubai, and it's one of the biggest. It's the first tournament of the, what do you call it, the season, the league, what do you call it? There's a lot of other sports they come over here, they have their finales. Like there's the F1, there's the tennis, there's the golf as well. They have their finales here. In fact, the squash happens here as well. Okay. And yeah, there's just so much money thrown into it. And one of the things comes into it when you think about Dubai is obviously money, but the whole thing of players. Can you see that? Let's say the UAE follows the lines of Hong Kong and develops the game. Canada's gone on with their league. They've got a Toronto team that's ended up in the UK Super League. They now travel there, and one of the first things they did was buy in their mind, an influential player to come and play for their team. Is that something that Dubai will do, or could do, or should do potentially?
I think if they get their leagues established, sort of marquee players definitely drive commercial revenue, attraction with social media, and it's a great way. It's a great way to bring people to the stadium. And at the end of the day, most rugby players are all about giving back to the game and getting involved and get among the community. So I think if we come down that track, it'll be a fantastic investment bringing these types of players that not only play but also can get involved with coaching. Yeah,
totally. Is there more opportunity here in Dubai, in your opinion? Because they talk about this as a central hub. It's so easy to travel from most parts of the world through Dubai or to Dubai. Do you think it's going to be easier for Dubai to do that? Or
you're right. And it is 6 hours to Europe. I have been in talks a number of times with clubs trying to base themselves in Dubai and still be able to play. I think South African teams have looked into that. Just because there are two South African teams that play in the Pro 14 competition.
Yes, true. Yes.
So they could essentially be based here and have better fan base, and it's only a 6 hour flight. Unfortunately, our summers, I guess the rugby season in the Europe starts in September and finishes in April, so September and October have been quite hot, and March, April was quite hot as well, but they can use that into their advantage of adapting to the heat for the home side. But I think that'll be a good possibility, and I don't think obviously they've got all the infrastructure with the 7-7 stadium. And I'm just in there's been a new person appointed with the Sevens management, and I'm trying to organise that the UAE club finals. It's more of an event, as an event where there could be 10,000 people there, and maybe have a brunch package.
Where, they love it.
We'll do what most expats like doing on a Friday. And go to a brunch and then watch a bit of rugby as well. Get amongst the rugby community.
Totally, I'll be down for that.
There we go.
Sold, done. When you look at there's going to be development and evolving. So with rugby, what's the next step here in the UAE? For you, what would be, if you were in charge of the UAE Rugby, what would your next step be for rugby as a whole?
At the moment, what's currently happening, there's some really good players. Two things I'd like to do. For the junior game to get more competitive, it would be to help out the universities, because so many good players, when they get to 15, 16, 17, they go back to England, or they go back over back to their home countries, just now because it's entry for university. So it'll be just to have some sort of opportunities for the university, so they can finish school and they go into a good university, and then they can get into a good rugby program. Secondly, I would like either to set up franchises. At the moment, there are six clubs in Doha, another team in Doha, which we can't play against for obvious reasons, but maybe to organise franchises where the Hurricanes, the Exiles become one franchise, Dragons and Dragons and the Eagles become one franchise, and we become a franchise and a franchise in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And then we play in Asia competition with teams against Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Hong Kong.
Yeah, cool.
With all those Asian countries, and they've got a pretty good following of rugby.
Yeah, awesome.
And I think that could be a really viable rugby competition.
Option. Yeah, totally, man. I mean, after the Rugby World Cup was in Japan, now there's a little big interest for Asia to host or have more presence in the rugby scene, right? So
yeah, and with the amount of expats coming over, I think it's the numbers have grown in the right direction for the rugby following. And I think it would be really easy to set up and have an Emirates on board, or make it or meaningful.
Yeah, they're the big airline, aren't they? Okay. Another question for you is going along the lines of we talk about juniors and development and stuff like that. When do you think there's a lot more masters? Everyone goes on the age factor again, and when should people stop? Not necessarily stop playing rugby, but well, maybe that's some of the things you want to say. Is there an age that people should stop playing rugby? Is there a time people should stop playing rugby? Or because there's so many, like a lot of other sports, there's master divisions now, and these master divisions becoming more and more popular. And with the sevens, there's these you become a vet, and you play in these teams with people above the age of 35. Do you think there's a time you should stop, or you just keep going, or?
It's just the enjoyment factor. The good thing about these vets tournaments, people still like to keep fit, and they like to have a focus. So even though they might play twice a year, it's still a reason for them to try and have a reason to get into training. Yeah, totally. And at the end of the day, these vets competition is lower impact, and everyone's sort of in over 35. And it's tennis sides, so it's not sevens. So that just keeps people more involved in the game, building their rugby community and their camaraderie around rugby. People just love missing just having a beer in the change rooms. So it's hard to beat that.
Exactly.
But in terms of for me, it's all about the enjoyment. You can understand and you know your body, and everybody's body's different. The game is getting faster. The collisions are tougher. So you have to be careful and make sure you've looked after the body. Yeah,
100%. What about UAE is fine, and what about the Middle Eastern region? You talked about Bahrain, Doha, they've got their teams over there. You'd like to see a franchise happen here. You seem to push a bit more towards Japan and Asia, Malaysia type thing. What about because there's a lot of things like MENA, like always North Africa and Middle East is always a very big common term used over here. Is there a space for potentially those Northern African teams, or do you see direction maybe going that way? Or
in our Tigers clubs, a few of the boys have toured Kenya.
Oh, wow.
Kenya, I believe, got a good rugby community, good following there. Totally. So I think there's amazing athletes there. And as you know, we've got a few of the the African boys in our Tigers men's team. Yeah, totally. So they'll be pretty happy. Yeah,
the Kenya team's on the sevens circuit, isn't it, as well?
So that's the beauty about Asia and the opportunities there can be created. And I think it'll be easy to organise with the infrastructure as well.
Yeah, cool, man. What about you and your coaching? Let's go back to you and your coaching. Here's a place, obviously, you've helped develop this. What would you like to do with your personal, your coaching, your side of things? Where would you like to take your career? As a career you want to push out there? Or
I like to have two interests.
Yep.
An interest giving back in rugby, then another interest with properties back in New Zealand that I like is totally different from rugby, and it's something I can have a day on the tools. My family's heavily involved with doing up houses, and I love that type of adventure as well. Totally. You can work on a house in a full day, look back at it and you can see what you've done. So getting the hands dirty. But with my coaching, just keep learning. No rush to go straight into a professional side. Really enjoying what I'm doing here with the Tigers, and just the bigger picture. It's taken me a while to really understand this. Is just see more and more people playing.
Yeah, cool, awesome.
Just making it fun for them, and that's the bigger picture. So for my coaching development and coaching focus would be, I'd like to get to level 3. I was hoping to do in Italy like to do that this year, and then obviously taking the Dubai Tigers this year, being competitive, and then probably next year trying to make the finals.
Yeah, awesome. That'd be very cool. I mean, back to Tigers. The Premiership is obviously the big thing here in the UAE, and there's the Premiership, and then the golf competition, which is basically the difference only being Bahrain is the only
the West Asia.
On that one. So then, with the growth of it, what do you think Dubai needs as a country to have? And not Dubai, sorry, the UAE needs to have enough. What number of teams do we need here to be say, great? This is a established rugby development place, or
so there's 6 teams in the UAE, 1 in the Bahrain. But awesome to have Doha back in. They'll be fantastic for the competition, and then probably another team maybe in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi Saracens are slowly getting back their rugby community, rugby program up and running. So they'll make it 8 teams. And there'll be more than enough for a sustainable rugby competition and good following. Yeah,
totally. It's always about numbers, isn't it? But when it comes to commercial stuff, that's anything to help a sport grow. You need to have commercial avenues to basically ticket sales at the gates, or just interest at least in the clubs, and making money somewhere to be going to grow.
And totally. There's been some really good sponsorship, and a lot of sponsors come on board to support the club rugby. I guess with the fields maintenance as well. So I know there's some good projects in the pipeline for a lot of teams and a lot of clubs. And I thought this year there's been a good collaboration between the Knights and the Eagles. I think that's been a win for both clubs. They're more competitive amongst all their junior rugby.
Awesome.
Their men's team is getting there.
Cool.
Getting there, but their women's team has been undefeated for the last 2 years.
There you go.
So it's good for the club.
Yeah, brilliant. I just lost the thought then. I just lost it. Again, we're going back to UAE and the teams and like that. Do you see, like, say you talk about America holding the Rugby World Cup? What about Dubai? What about the Middle East as a Rugby World Cup? Do you see it happening in the next 10, 20, 30 years? Do you see it as a possibility? Do you think it should be something that's done? Because there are, again, those other big events that they do bring over here. I mean...
I guess the Rugby 7 Stadium does hold 30,000, 35,000 plus. And people love it out there. So I know there have been talks with New Zealand and Australia potentially doing a game here in the UAE.
Oh, wow.
I think if they could do a game, it would be actually interesting to see how much ticket sales they'll be able to get. So if they can do that event, they'll sort of tick a box and saying that they're able to host a good 15-a-side match, and then you see all different teams of Saracens or any English or French team, they're all looking to exploit different opportunities, try and grow their fan base as well.
Totally.
And bring their product overseas. So I wouldn't be surprised if...
during the cold winters over there to enjoy at least the warm winters over here. So I think I believe there was, I can't remember, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, there was a small camp for potential All Blacks or the junior All Blacks. They were here. They held one here, did they?
They've been in talks with their main sponsor, the insurance company. It's off the top of my head. So
AIG.
That's it, AIG. AIG Insurance. They've tried to organise some camps over here, and that is something that's in the pipeline. The All Blacks head of commercial. It's a mate of mine who's actually coming over here to speak with Gary Chapman from Emirates. So there are some opportunities coming about.
Cool, awesome. There's good things on the horizon for rugby in the UAE.
It's heading in the right direction.
One good thing I actually a little missed, and we've actually running out of time, which is unfortunate, but we can always come back to another time. But sorry, about the other one. We've talked about a lot about Dubai. We've talked about Abu Dhabi. There is a team in a lane. Fajera, Rosakaima, Ajman. I mean, when you look at the country, do you see potentials there as well, or would it be good for rugby if the other Emirates here were involved?
There is Muscat.
Yes.
And I think they're Division 2.
Mm-hmm.
But we sat around at the table and they came in. They were really excited to be amongst the UAE community teams, and all the other teams really welcomed them in.
Yeah, awesome.
So it was pleasing to see. And I think, at the end of the day, whenever there's going to be schools, private schools, there's going to be teachers.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of schools within those regions.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's the Alain has always been a great place to play rugby.
Yep.
Fajira and Russell came up. There are good schools there, so there'll be teachers and people willing to get involved in playing rugby.
Primo. Yeah, man, unfortunately that's enough. That's all the time we've got for today, but definitely it's been great to talk to you about rugby. Before you go though, first of all, a couple of things. One is you're playing this weekend. The team's playing in Bahrain.
Yep,
so
that's right.
Best of luck for that one.
Cheers. We're going to need it.
The other one is the next home game is when?
Our next home game's on the 17th of January.
Yep.
Both 1s and 2s playing
awesome.
at home at Dubai College.
Perfect.
At 3 o'clock, and the 1s are playing against Abu Dhabi Harlequins.
Oh, nice.
And the 2s are playing against Jabali Dragons 2s.
Oh, cool. So good games. Good games going on.
Yeah, come along.
Yeah, awesome. And then also Evolution. So to get involved with Evolution,
Yep.
and find out more about it.
Yeah, Evolution, just look us up on Facebook or LinkedIn and reach out to us, and I'll come down for a free trial.
Yeah, cool.
If you like it, we can organise something for you.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And any final words about rugby in the UAE?
Yeah, get involved. The best game to grow yourself in terms of as a person or challenge you.
100%.
But also it's good to be involved in a team environment, and you can't have much more fun than working hard together as a team and as a group to come away with a good result.
Exactly, 100%. Thanks, bro, for joining us today. Guys, if you have comments, questions, remember chuck them in the comment section down below. Share, like, all that stuff, all that good stuff. Social media, we want on that as well. If you have any questions, definitely send them through. We can pass them on. But from myself, thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next time. Remember, the daily show is 8 o'clock every morning, and we talk about health, sports, and fitness. So yeah, looking forward to joining you there. Be a part of it. Take care. Until next time. Peace.
We've all been there, hours searching the internet, asking friend upon friend, making call after call, trying to find the right fitness professional, health specialist, or sports coach. So much time, energy, and even money spent only to find more problems than solutions. Well, now, with the Find Fit People platform, you can find all the available professionals with the skills you need in an instant. We've removed all the barriers by establishing a community of many different skilled health specialists, sports coaches, and fitness professionals that are alerted immediately once you've posted your request. In under 30 seconds, you can attract multiple professionals with the right skills to help you achieve the result you want. It's simple, fast, and free. Find us online at www.findfitpeople.com or download the Find Fit People app from Apple or Google Play stores so you can find fit people today.